76 years old now, and this is the first time I'm telling the truth out loud. For most of my life, people called me a good woman. Strong, polite, reliable, the kind of woman who never raised her voice, never caused trouble, never asked for too much. What they didn't know is that being the perfect woman cost me almost everything. I was raised to believe that my job was to hold things together, to smile when I was tired, to stay quiet when I was hurt, to be grateful, even when I was being ignored. As a Black woman in America, I learned early that perfection was a kind of armor. If I was calm enough, kind enough, patient enough, maybe the world would be softer with me. So I tried harder. I became the perfect daughter, the perfect wife, the perfect mother, the perfect churchwoman, the one everyone leaned on. And every time I chose myself, I felt guilty. I swallowed my anger because good women don't complain. I buried my dreams because family comes first. I stayed quiet because I didn't want to be called difficult, bitter, or ungrateful. Years passed like that. Decades. People praised me for my strength, but no one asked how tired I was. I don't remember the exact moment it happened, but one day I stood in front of the mirror and realized something terrifying. I had done everything right. I had followed every rule. I had been everything everyone needed. And yet, I didn't know who I was anymore. The woman looking back at me had a familiar face, but her dreams were missing. Her voice was quiet. Her joy felt borrowed. That was the first crack in the mask. And once it cracked, I couldn't stop seeing the truth. Nobody tells you what being the perfect woman does to you over time. They praise you. They depend on you. They assume you'll always be there. But slowly, very slowly, you begin to disappear. I didn't notice it at first. I was too busy taking care of everyone else. I ignored my exhaustion because rest felt selfish. I ignored my sadness because other people had it worse. I ignored my body when it whispered for help until it started screaming. My smile stayed in place, but inside I was empty. There were nights I sat alone in the quiet, long after everyone else was asleep, and wondered why I felt so lonely. In a life full of people, I gave so much of myself away that there was nothing left to give me. My health suffered. My spirit grew tired. Some days even breathing felt heavy, and still I showed up. Because that's what perfect women do. They don't rest. They don't break. They don't fall apart where anyone can see. I missed moments I can never get back. Opportunities I was afraid to take. Dreams I convinced myself I didn't need. I told myself maybe later, but later kept moving further away. What hurts the most isn't just what I lost. It's how invisible that loss was. People thanked me for my sacrifices, but no one asked what they cost me. I was loyal, faithful, reliable, but I was slowly becoming a stranger to myself. By the time I reached my later years, I realized something painful and honest. I had spent decades being strong for everyone else, but no one had taught me how to be gentle with myself. And that truth sits heavy in my chest even now, because when you give your whole life away, trying to be perfect, the price you pay is time, and time never comes back. My awakening didn't come with fireworks. It came quietly. I was already in my 70s when it happened. Tired in a way sleep could never fix. One morning I sat alone by the window, watching the light stretch across the floor, and I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Stillness. For the first time, I wasn't rushing. I wasn't needed. I wasn't proving anything. And in that silence, a question rose up inside me. Gentle, but impossible to ignore. What about me? That question scared me, because I had spent my whole life pushing it away. I had been taught that choosing myself was selfish, that rest was laziness, that saying no was unkind. But something had shifted. I didn't have the energy to pretend anymore, so I started small. I rested without explaining myself. I stopped answering every call. I let guilt pass through me without obeying it. At first, it felt wrong. People noticed the change. Some were confused. Some were uncomfortable, but I was breathing again. I began telling the truth, not loudly, not angrily, just honestly. I admitted when I was tired. I admitted when I didn't want to carry something anymore. I admitted that I deserved peace too. And slowly, I met myself. Not the perfect woman, not the dependable one, just me, a woman with limits, a woman with feelings, a woman who had given enough. There was grief in that awakening. For the years I couldn't get back, but there was freedom too, because even late in life, I learned this. It is never too late to stop abandoning yourself. I may not have time to become who I once dreamed of, but I have time to be honest. And for the first time in decades, that feels like enough. If I could sit across from my younger self, or from any woman still trying to be everything for everyone, this is what I would say. Do not confuse your worth with your sacrifice. The world will applaud you for how much you give. It will call you strong when you are exhausted. It will call you kind when you are silent. But praise does not protect you from losing yourself. I spent most of my life believing love meant endurance, that being a good woman meant being agreeable, available, and uncomplaining. No one told me that strength without boundaries becomes a burden. So I'm telling you now, rest before your body forces you to. Speak before your silence turns into resentment. Choose yourself before you disappear, especially if you are a Black woman, taught to be strong no matter the cost. Hear me clearly. Your strength is not a debt you owe the world. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to take up space. Love does not require self-erasure. Family does not require your exhaustion. Respect does not require your silence. I waited too long to learn that. And while I don't live in regret, I do live in truth. If my life has taught me anything, it is this. Perfection is a quiet thief. It steals your voice, your rest, your joy, one yes at a time. So be kind, be generous, be loving, but do not disappear trying to be perfect. Because at the end of life, no one asks how much you gave away. They ask who you were, and I want you to be able to answer that without hesitation.